Hey guys, what's up? This is David from Common RDW here, and you are listening to the first Binge Blast podcast recording of 2022. Holy shit. It has been about 2 years now, or like a little under 2 years since I originally started this show, because I started it back in the beginning of the decade, which is 2020, right when the pandemic started. And actually, it was a great show idea, and I want this show to be successful into the new year. So we're gonna frickin' do it, guys. We're gonna do it. And to ring in the new year with me on Binge Blast, I have two friends here. I have Logan.
Hey.
And I have Nikkei.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on this podcast, on this episode with me, getting this content creation going into the new year. And I think you guys would also like to be getting your content creation going into the new year as well. So, if you guys would like to plug your socials or anything that you have, if you want people to keep in contact with you or keep up with your stuff through 2022, now is the time to hashtag shameless plug yourself real quick.
I guess I'll start. Honestly, don't follow me. Don't follow me. Like honestly, recently I made my Twitter, like my main Twitter, private, right? And like that's how I like it now. It's like even on like Facebook, it's like friends only. Though there are certain things like we
you don't
talked
have
about
you don't have the
content
professional
creation.
you don't have the professional Twitter up yet. You have like the brain dump Twitter. You need the professional.
Well, okay, so I'll say this. Say this. If people want to follow me, you can follow at Breakroom Arcade on Twitter, right? And then on YouTube as well, because I create with other friends, and we do gaming stuff there at the Breakroom Arcade. And in terms of like game content creation, that's kind of like where any of my game content creation efforts go. I'm in the habit of also doing music. I guess I can plug that.
SoundCloud?
I have, well, actually, no, on any major, what do you call it? Streaming service, you can find me.
Dope.
But like,
I think I'm following you on Spotify actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so my name on Spotify is Logan Daniel. And I have like a 4-song EP, and then it's like weird because like I have one other song that I recorded as like a just kind of a one-off, and then I uploaded it and it's on Spotify and Apple Music and all that other stuff, but it's like under a different listing, but it's still me. But yeah, I have a
good music. I listened to the EP when you linked it to me.
I have a 4-song EP on there called just Collections of Thought. If you find it, hey, welcome. I worked a lot of hours on those songs, so I think that's what I'll plug.
Dope. And then what about you, Nikkei? You have a nice foundation going on that you tend to in 2022.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm still figuring out my socials as well, but for the most part, most of my stuff is kind of set up right now. A good way to follow me would be Instagram right now, so at NikkeiZX, spelled NikkeiZX. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet with that username. Insta. I use it for everything. Yes, my Insta. So you'll see on there, I'm a cosplayer. I'm also a streamer as well, like David, and a gamer. So a lot of content like that is going to be on there. A lot more of it. I have some cosplay pictures from C2E2 up there.
This podcast is auditory. This podcast is auditory. So for all of you listeners out there, I just want you to imagine a black protagonist of Kingdom Hearts with goggles. And that's Nikkei. That's how he dresses most days. And it's actually it's a vibe. Actually, it's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Yes. Thank you. As a matter of fact, it's funny you say that because yes, it is very much Kingdom Hearts inspired. Like, so all of my outfits are like inspired by the different drive forms. So I have a red outfit, blue, green, purple, yellow, and like I switch out the goggles to match. But that's gonna be like my whole aesthetic, and I kind of want to start doing Instagram reels and stuff, like doing skits, maybe even TikTok. So
yeah, dude, if you
can follow me there.
Yeah, you need to work on those if you made a TikTok, there's like so many quirky people on TikTok that have such like aesthetics that are so them, and your whole aesthetic would take the fuck off on TikTok. Because then it would be like people that are like just geeky nerdy, or like, you would probably like appeal to a lot of like probably high school age weebs, to be honest, because they just be like, yo, that's fucking cool, yo. Yeah, so it'd be like just anime TikTok would find you immediately. They would love that.
Absolutely.
Shit. Yeah.
So yeah, feel free to get the ball rolling on that. Follow me on TikTok, same username, and also Twitch. I'm gonna try to stream more consistently this year as well.
Man, that is the vibe. So, yeah. That is the vibe in 2022. Financials, physicals, and creationals is the mantra I'm speaking into 2022. We're getting started with this episode of Binge Blast, which if you're listening right now on twitch.tv/CommentRDW, you are part of our live podcast audience where you can type in our chat, interact with the show. If we see anything you see in chat that seems interesting with the conversation we're doing, we can add you into that conversation with your comments. And also, if you're listening in post on YouTube or on Spotify, where I will toss this podcast later. Thank you so much for listening. Like and subscribe. And also on Spotify, you can follow the podcast there if you want to support the show that way. I need to make a Patreon or a coffee. Yes.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
Maybe both.
I pronounce it Ko-Fi.
I have a Cash App. I need to put a Cash App on screen. But
honestly, put it all out there. Put it all out there.
If you want to give me money, you know, I have all of the forms of payment, all the forms. But I just appreciate you being here and being an awesome listener of the show. Let's get this shit going, y'all. Let's get going, because since we've been gone for so long, that gives me a perfect opportunity to just be like, I've been doing a lot of stuff. You guys have been doing some things too, it seems like it. So I'm going to actually kick off the show with Logan. My man. You have been playing a game that just keeps on giving, that just will never ever die, just like its main protagonist. You've been playing a lot of Dead Cells recently. So talk about that for a bit.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was. I think like Metroid Dread got announced, right? And then I was like, all right, I gotta get on a Metroid kick. So I started playing through all the Metroid games. And now, like, after having played Metroid Dread, having played some of the other Metroid games, still working through like something like Fusion, I just want more of that style of game. And so I've been playing a lot of Metroidvanias. Like, you throw a Metroidvania at me and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm at least going to give this some time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've been playing Dead Cells the last few days. And it's been a blast. And I put another one up here because I want to talk about these kind of in conjunction a little bit.
Oh, and Blasphemous,
yeah. Blasphemous is I bought that like a few weeks ago as opposed to like Dead Cells I bought the other day.
So you just started Dead Cells?
Yeah, I just started Dead Cells.
Oh,
I've played it before for a little bit, but never really got into it. Never committed anything. I think it was like available through Game Pass, and so I played it a little bit and then stopped. But yeah, I bought it with like all the DLC on sale.
There's so much DLC. Like, this is a game where I thought originally it was just gonna be what it is and that's it. But they've been making DLC for this game for like this game came out 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and they just keep consistently dropping things. And I think even just getting to that DLC content takes a while because the game's already super hard. As is, like, you have to be laser focused when you're playing Dead Cells.
Yeah. So like, I think the key difference between something like Blasphemous and something like Dead Cells is, while they're both definitely Metroidvania games, Dead Cells is also a roguelike, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're going to be dying a ton and you're going to be going back and doing the run over and over and over again, as opposed to Blasphemous, where you're just going to go back to, the last save point and you're going to, here's the boss I was at, so I'm going to go try that boss again. Mm-hmm. Dead Cells, it's you're playing the game, you're upgrading things permanently, and then you're getting like random pools of items. And honestly, it threw me off for a minute. kind of the roguelike elements because I was just, maybe played a little bit of Hollow Knight, Blasphemous, Metroid. And so that's like the most different thing about it. But I like it. I like it a lot. I like how the game feels. I like the aesthetic.
The combat's really solid too. So many weapons. Oh
yeah, so many options. Like sometimes I haven't quite got it down in the sense that like being consciously aware that at any moment I could be pressing different buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if I have a shield and I want to parry attacks, okay, I have to remember, I can parry attacks. I can use my shield for this purpose. And then be able to successfully parry, all these different enemies, and then be able to manage yourself, when there's several enemies doing all these different things. Like that beginning area that they throw you into ends up being like, it's the baby area. It's really, really easy to get out of.
Yeah, after you go through it like the first 5 times, you're like, oh, I can just zoom through here.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do it by avoiding everything, or you can kill a bunch of things along the way. And so the sense of progression in that game is, it's just, I love a roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my favorite roguelikes I'll just mention here is if you haven't played Risk of Rain 2,
play that's Risk a fun one.
2.
Yeah,
I heard it's a good one. Good, yeah.
So yeah, just Metroidvanias in general. Oh my God, such a I don't know what it is about those formulas, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just like really, really hook me. And not to mention like the Metroidvanias that they've released nowadays are better than ever. They look better. Not to even mention how gorgeous of a game something like Blasphemous is. Like, oh my God, that game is it's unreal. It's unreal how much I vibe with the way that game looks.
Yeah, Blasphemous, isn't that like a 2D Metroidvania, like Dark Souls aesthetic type of thing? Like literally almost like actually just Dark Souls 2D.
Yeah, so like...
Is it on the bullet hell side of things?
No, definitely not. It's definitely like a little bit slower of a game. Like the attack patterns are more purposeful. Timing is really important. Like it's easier in that game to die to a single enemy than it is in something like Dead Cells, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't attack nearly as fast. You don't have the kind of options. It's really all about like
there's actually a dive roll
dodging.
button, right?
Yeah, there's like a I don't really know what you want, like a slide button essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is also doubles as like a dodge to get around places. I mean, Dead Cells has something like that too. It has a dodge.
Yeah, just aesthetically, it looks a lot more like in the fantasy. I don't know what that aesthetic.
It has Dark Souls like themes in terms of like darkness, but it leans really heavy into like religious themes, but the dark side of that, right? And just really kind of making everything look and feel uncomfortable. And,
oh yeah,
monsters and beasts, and like at one point you come across like this like large baby looking dude, right?
Yeah,
he's got like a bowl cut, and he's got his shirt open and he's poking at what looks like a face, like on his like chest and on his like abdomen, and it's just deeply uncomfortable looking at him. To, like,
actually, I have like the footage from a trailer on screen, and I think you can keep talking. I think I just actually saw that thing because they were showing some. Yeah, this thing right here or something. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Well, like he serves a purpose. Like if you get like a quest item, like a selection of quest items for him, like he upgrades something about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything's contextual. That's like a Metroidvania in the sense that everything's set, and then there's multiple ways to get anywhere in the world, and you're gonna want to be revisiting sections of the map because you have to bring things back there for quests that'll get you like more health or more health flasks, and anything else to prepare you. Just like you would in like a Metroid.
One thing I think that is actually
upgrade yourself.
Like speaking of Metroid, I played Dread, but I just played like the demo, And playing through it, I was like, yeah, this is cool. I get the draw to this game. It's very fluid. It's very fun. And then I went back because everyone was like going on a Metroid replaying spree to get ready for Dread, and I tried playing like the Metroid on the SNES, like the NES, like via Nintendo Switch Online. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Then I tried Super because like there's so many people that ride or die by how good Super Metroid is, right? Like there's people that say it's one of the best video games ever created, and that game puts me to sleep. I can't play it for longer than like an hour.
Oh, that's funny.
That game is boring to me. I don't like those two games at all.
Yeah, so like I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, if I need a guide to get through something, I will break out the guide, and that's honestly how I got through Super Metroid.
I think it's just like the controls, but also just I don't know. It's just it's just boring. I don't know. But I'll also play like Hollow Knight, and its music is so like somber and chill, and I could actually fall asleep to the Hollow Knight soundtrack, but I don't because it's like the aesthetic is better, the action's a lot more fast paced when you're getting into boss fights, the animation, the art style, even like Dead Cells, right? Another Metroidvania, but it's also roguelike elements, so that's really cool. It's like the game that established the genre that all these other games are being made out of. And it almost, you could say there's an oversaturation of Metroidvanias nowadays, but there's so many good ones that are being made now that it's like you could never play Metroid and get exactly how the genre goes, right? So it's very cool.
I mean the consoles had different limitations at the time, right? It's just a different era.
Yeah, I think it's also just like because you've been exposed to, I guess, for lack of better words, better versions of Metroid. It's like it's kind of hard to backtrack a little bit.
Metroid Prime, though. Metroid Prime is that gas. I want to go back and play Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Yeah, and it's like, because, I mean, funny thing is, because I'm a huge Metroidvania, like, fan as well. And, like, I recently, I want to say last year, maybe, last year, is when I first played Super Metroid. And, I mean, I think it held up pretty okay. I do think the whole point of Metroid games is that it's supposed to kind of, like, feel kind of like desolate and empty or whatever, because the whole point of the game is you're kind of going through like this, you know, this abandoned area, or like you're going through this place that's like it's alive but not really, you know. It's like there's things going on in the background, and you know, it's like in every game I've noticed, like with every Metroid game, it's like Samus is always going to some abandoned something. But it's not quite abandoned, you know. It's like
isolation's a big theme in those games.
I think the big thing that really draws me into the Metroidvania genre is there's this thing that I say people have. I don't like, you guys know what it is, because like if you've been playing video games as long as you have, like we've been playing them since we were kids, right? Yeah. So it's like we have a gamer sense, literal gamer sense, spider sense, gamer sense, where you're walking around, you can take in context from the environment around you and just know exactly what you have to do and not get lost that fast, or you can pick up things pretty quickly. And it's like Metroidvanias are like, you're in this place now. Only place you can go is right, just go. And then you hit branching pathways. You're like, okay, I'm going to go this way. Then you hit a place where you can't do anything. You're like, okay, well, my gamer sense says go the other way. Find something to come back, and then we'll do this again. So it's like, it gives you like a problem-solving type of thing, right? Because you're just like, the only way I can go is where I'm allowed to go. But I also want to just see what there is out there type of thing. Yeah, it's just, games just scratch that itch, and I think it's just so great. But, yeah, Dead Cells and Blasphemous are both great games. I have Dead Cells. I haven't played it since I initially got it when the game first came out, because it was hard, and I might go back to it eventually, because like we were talking about Metroidvanias and shit. They have an Everybody Is Here DLC pack where it's like Hollow Knight and a whole bunch of other characters they added into the game, or like at least there's their weapons are in the game. And like themed outfits or something for the Dead Cells protagonists are in the game too. So that's pretty cool. I think that's just neat. I think it's neat.
That was one thing I was like really surprised to see, and I was really happy to see, is just something like, oh, I have different cosmetics for my character. I was really like that.
Yeah, man.
So like side note, I was gonna say side note, since we were like talking about like Metroid and Metroidvanias, have either of you ever played it was a fan remake of Metroid 2 called AM2R.
Never played it, no. But isn't it the one that Nintendo got? With it, though. Isn't that the one Nintendo got taken down?
Yep.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
because
Which
they
you
were.
can still find.
It's because they
but-
were making Samus Returns for the 3DS at the
Yep.
time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Mhm.
really good. Like
I've
I
heard.
really enjoyed
I've
that.
heard really good
Yeah.
things. Yeah, if only Nintendo cared about fan projects like the Sonic team does.
Yeah. If
Sonic,
only.
Sonic Frontiers, aka Sonic, hired this man. The game. Can't wait for that. All right, Nikkei, you've been
Yo.
watching and playing what seems like from your listing a lot of comfort shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah.
So this will be a good one because me and Logan both have watched this show. You've been rewatching Steven Universe.
Yeah,
So let's
Ah!
fucking get to it.
So funny thing is, actually, I'm kind of watching it secondhand. So Katana is really the one watching it as like a comfort show, but like we're both in the room together a lot of the time, so I'm kind of like listening to it and looking over. But like I'm like it gets to a point sometimes where like I kind of stop what I'm doing and like I go over and start watching it with her.
Mm-hmm.
But
So you've
but
watched
yeah,
the whole
no.
franchise already, yeah?
Yeah, so I've seen it all the way through. Like I've seen Steven Universe Future, and it's
Okay.
pretty interesting going back and watching it, knowing what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of funny, like not funny necessarily, but it's just interesting, like watching all the foreshadowing with context, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, they hinted at this back then. Like, it's amazing how well this show was written with like future things in mind. No
So
pun intended.
you said Katana was starting to watch Steven Universe. What made her start watching it? She was just curious, or she wanted to watch it, or?
Oh yeah, no. So we both like watched it before, like
So she
together,
saw you
and-
watching the ending, and she's like, "I need context." So now she's watching it from the beginning.
No, like so, like I think like a couple years ago, like as it was airing, actually she was watching it. Like this was around the time she and I first met,
Mhm.
but she got me into Steven Universe, and then we watched the whole
Oh.
thing, and then so she's rewatching it like also like as like from the beginning,
Mhm.
but she's seen the whole thing as well. So we both like watched the finale and everything together. Like I think 2019.
Okay,
is
gotcha.
when it ended. So yeah, we're both kind of rewatching it over. But yeah, no, it's just it's definitely a show that's very interesting watching a second time.
Yeah, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think I'd want to watch Steven Universe all the way through from the beginning. Because it drags, you know, and it's like it doesn't really pick up until maybe like when until after Peridot goes good is when the show kind of starts picking up a little bit, because that's when the context starts to come in.
Yeah.
Or at least like when the diamonds become a threat, maybe like when Blue Diamond first shows up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of like how it was for us too. It's like there were some episodes that she just kind of skipped, like the what was it, Uncle Grandpa or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, that one filler
that
episode, the crossover episode, yeah.
Yeah, like the crossovers. We
Or
just
like
kinda
mostly
skipped those 'cause they were
episodes with the
stupid.
townspeople.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although sometimes those are kind of hard to skip too, because like sometimes they'll sneak in something at the very end.
The
that has,
last
like,
3 minutes has,
context.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, damn, that's actually like actual like important content.
Mm-hmm.
So
See,
it's hard to tell sometimes.
Okay, so obviously, like I've restarted this show on several occasions, and sometimes it's just like a casual thing that I'll put on in the background, right?
Mhm.
But like I think the key with a show like Steven Universe is that even if like you don't need like a specific context for like something that's gonna happen later, that's like, okay, here's like the main story, like the rest of it's just like world building.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that personality that they breathe in to these locations and these people that they touch on, even if like one character isn't particularly important. Like it ties in and like makes for like even like other just stories set down the line to build this cohesive world. And that's my favorite thing about like a show like Steven Universe, or like another show that I put on all the time, Adventure Time. You know,
Mhm. I think
That's
that
another show that I regret not really watching, and I kind of wish I did.
me and Aisha are off and on going back to Adventure Time because I never watched Adventure Time when it was on TV, like cohesively all the way through. I would always catch like the same 30 episodes they always put on, because the thing it's really interesting, right? If we want to get into like like animation on television, right? Cartoon Network has this curse that they put on their own shows where they do 15-minute blocks. So every episode of their shows has to be 15 minutes. And then if they want to, they can do a 30-minute block, but with 2 parts that are 15 minutes. What Disney does, and actually give a shit, is they have their shows, Star vs. the Force of Evil, Gravity Falls, Owl House, Amphibia. All their shows are 30-minute long episodes. Yeah, there's 2 parts in each episode, but they are cohesive throughout. So if you have a 30-minute block, you have a long episode, or you just have 2 episodes that are back to back, but they are both making sense cohesively in that block, right? Disney gives more of a shit about their shows having plot than Cartoon Network ever will. And like Steven Universe fell into that curse by accident. It caught up a little bit on the back end, but that's why in the beginning there's so many just filler episode shows, so many filler episodes, because they needed episodes they could just put on randomly to fill in block between freaking Teen Titans Go, right? So
right.
But later on though, yeah, the show started picking up. Steven Universe Future was great. The movie was great. The soundtrack I still listen to this day. I still have a lot of those songs in my rotation. I just really wish they let Steven punch a bitch, like, and not get sad about it. Like, I just wish he had a little bit more of an edge. But otherwise, like, Steven Universe is the kill him with kindness character, through and through.
I think it's honestly refreshing, because I feel like whenever, like, you know, franchises, movies, TV shows do like the kill them with kindness bit, like, I feel like it's like half-assed, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't actually go the full way. Whereas like Steven Universe like really leans into like love is the answer, right? And it commits to the bit. And I respect that show so much.
And then in Future, that's when it came back and like kind of bit him in the ass a little bit. Yeah. To where it got a little real and everyone felt that. But yeah.
I think the thing that I like the most about Future, and I'm kind of looking forward to us getting to that point, because right now we're at the, I mean, to just get into specifics, we just passed the episode with the human zoo episode.
Oh,
so we
okay,
just got past that part.
You're like 3/4 of the way done with the series then.
Yeah, so it's like I'm looking forward to Future, because like Future, like it really, like you said, it kind of like shows you like the backhand of that, right? Like, oh, okay, he doesn't want to fight, but like pacifism can only get you so far, and it can create so many problems that you may not be aware of. And like not only that, but it's interesting just kind of seeing toxic Steven. Like I hate to call it that, but it's kind of true. Like Steven just becomes like really, really toxic, and it's like I feel like there's kind of a message in that a little bit that some people I feel like kind of missed.
Dude, it was so good, man. Like Steven Universe really is a franchise where if someone's never watched it, I recommend it. But if you've seen it, then it's like it's just such a great conversation piece, you know. It's one of those cartoons I think also that if you're a kid watching Steven Universe and then you grow up and watch it again later, you're picking up stuff that you never caught before. And I think that's
even
great.
Now, even now, like rewatching it, like just some of the humor, and like it's funny because I was an adult already when I saw it the first time, and it's like watching it the second time, it's like, wait, they got away with saying that, like, or they got away with that reference, like what?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny, but like, I feel like this is one of those shows that really kind of drives home the point that a cartoon doesn't have to be like stupid humor, you know, like because I get into this kind of like debate with people a lot of times, especially in the like tokusatsu community, because you know I watch stuff like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and stuff like that, and like there's a common like argument that, oh, it's a kid's show, so it doesn't have to have good writing, or it doesn't have to have like cohesive writing, and it's like, well, that's
Disney shows
kind of bullshit,
that,
right? Because like when you look at a lot of the most successful shows, when you go back and watch them, they kind of age really well in the sense of like it's like rewatching a whole new show the second time. And that's because those shows do a really good job of kind of appealing to a wider audience in that sense. So even though this is a kid's show, you know, it appeals to pretty much anybody. You know, there's a message for everyone in it, and I think that really is the main ingredient to having a really successful show. Like,
well, I think it doesn't seem like it caters to like certain demographics, maybe more heavily just based on the medium. right? Like Steven Universe isn't a show where they're going to throw a bunch of cuss words in it, right?
Right.
But like the actual like writing and substance of the show, like honestly, a lot of these things are like things that like adults need to hear too and be reminded of, while also just kind of like, you know, having enough complexity, like nesting, like foreshadowing elements in like earlier episodes, or at least not having like a hard take. Like a kids show could be like, hey kids, like it's good to share, right? But then like a show like Steven Universe can like express that without it being like the explicit thing.
I mean, they also had the gyms literally manning their anti-racism campaign back in like 2020, because there's just that kind of show. I fucking loved those commercials that they did. It was so great. Like they had Garnet and Pearl and Amethyst teaching kids not to be like just not to be racist. It was great. It was amazing.
Right. And so like with some of these shows, and I put like Steven Universe and Adventure Time like right next to each other, right? In terms of just the pedigree, like, you know, Rebecca Sugar created Steven Universe, and she was also a writer and songwriter for Adventure Time. Like I can't tell you like how deep Adventure Time digs for me, and in similar ways Steven Universe digs for me, because it's like, I don't know, I feel like things that I needed to hear just like nested in this medium that like I didn't even realize I was digesting those things, right, until like it hit me.
Yeah, Steven Universe
there was a moment in the show.
Yeah, Steven Universe was literally a what's the word? It was a cultural shift of a show, because there was nothing like it on at the time, and there actually has not been anything quite like it since it went off the air. So that's great. Logan, are you making dinner right now, my boy?
Absolutely not. Those things that you're hearing in the background, it's actually aliens attacking. So I'm ducking and dodging like,
is the plan to distract them with
lasers
popcorn
as we speak. But you know what? I'm so committed to this podcast that I'm staying on despite the life and death situation that I'm in.
Okay, well, tell the aliens I said, hey, what's up? Hello. But also, let's see. I'm gonna actually touch on something that I've been playing recently, actually. Chat's like, I love that for you, Logan. Please keep fighting the aliens in your kitchen.
Yeah, show them who's boss.
But yeah, so I actually recently, good news for me, humble brag, I got a PlayStation 5 recently, so that's fucking dope. It's been literally ever since I'm in a position where I was always like, I'm not getting a PlayStation 5 until I can walk into a store and just purchase one, right? And I ended up getting in a position like that where GameStop had a deal where I could just go into their store, and it was crazy because every single GameStop in Chicago had a restock of like 60 plus PlayStation 5 bundles in their store, and it came with the console, a controller, 3 games, and a charging dock, and an extra controller. So yeah, it was really crazy, and I was like, yeah, this is my time. I'm gonna go and get this console, and yeah, I've been loving my time with it. It's been great. I've finished like 2 games on it so far, maybe 3 if you count like Miles Morales again, but games that I never finished before. Astro's Playroom is the first game I'm going to talk about, which is basically a game that is just really cool. It's a full ass game that just comes in the console pre-downloaded. Like as soon as you turn the console on, it's just in there, right? And this is what I like to file under my list of Nintendo games that aren't Nintendo games, but 100% are just Nintendo games, right? Like this game is so damn, it's like a perfect tech demo of the DualSense controller on the PlayStation 5. It's like pretty much how Nintendo had like Wii Sports bundled in with the Wii, or they should have bundled in once you switch with the Switch. But this is like you know how when they have like controllers and companies do things with their tech where it's like no one's really gonna do this maybe in like the next 3 years to this extent, but it's cool that they showed the possibilities that are like achievable with this tech. So with the DualSense controller, there's like adaptive triggers. So for example, when you're driving a car, you can actually feel like the tension when you're pressing down on the pedal, or if you're shooting a gun, you can like actually feel the click of like pulling the trigger, and
cool.
a whole bunch of other stuff like that. There's a microphone built into the controller, so there's like some gimmicks where you have to blow into a microphone to make something work. There's also the touchpad. They make things happen with the touchpad. There's like HD rumble built into the controller as well. So like if it's raining, you can also like feel the pitter patters of the rain on the character in your hands, and it's like it builds that extra layer of immersion that most games actually wouldn't have, right? So like with Astro's Playroom, every time I've had someone over my house and I'm like, have you played a PlayStation 5 yet? People say no. I immediately just boot up Astro's Playroom and I let them play it for like about an hour. And they're like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like this...
I'm watching the B-roll footage of it now.
And what's crazy is the game already looks like a fun video game, but it adds an extra layer to it when you're actually controlling this character and feeling how good this DualSense controller feels in your hands. Because that rumble and all of that just adds that extra layer of depth and immersion that is just insane. And it's so good. Yeah.
So I don't have a PS5, right? They're really expensive and they're only so available.
Valid.
But I know people with PS5s, and I've played Astro's Playroom. And, like, I just want to echo everything you said. Like, it's just, like, a really, really solid tech demo of, like, here's what the PlayStation 5 is. Here's the controller and what it can do. While also just kind of being, like, a celebration of, like, PlayStation in general. Like, hey, welcome to the next generation.
Yeah, dude. So, like... I didn't realize how much... So, I never owned a PlayStation console in my life until my PlayStation 4 back in, like, 2015. And that's when they were going for, like, maybe, like, $300. But they were just tossing bundles out the door with, like, Uncharted in them and shit. But I didn't get a PlayStation until PlayStation 4. But I also have been just keeping up with gaming culture and other stuff. Even though I was mainly a Nintendo head my whole life and I owned a 360, I was still keeping track of what was going on the PlayStation side of things. So while you're playing through Astro's Playroom, like Logan said, it's a celebration of PlayStation's history. So you're getting collectibles and they're getting artifacts, which are basically just a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of hardware throughout PlayStation's life cycle. Like you'll get like the first ever PlayStation controller, you'll get super niche things, like there was like a mouse for the PlayStation 1 that I didn't know about, like the iToy for the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 had like an Ethernet dock on the back to like connect it to the internet as well to fight with like Xbox at the time. There's so many cool things that like you're just seeing, and I'm like, oh, I remember this. I never owned it, but I remember this. And also they have like Astro's little robot buddies. They're also doing references to games from Sony's first party history. So like you'll see a reference to like Ape Escape, you'll see like a God of War reference, you'll see like Gravity Rush, Uncharted, all of those things. And I'm playing through the game, Jak and Daxter, and I'm playing through it. And like I said, I hardly played most of these games, but I recognize these characters and I'm just like, oh, I'm like catching all of these. And I didn't know I was this in depth or in tune with PlayStation's like culture until literally I was playing through all of it at once and just getting loaded with it. So that was actually really cool to see. Like part of my childhood that I never experienced, but it's still like been a part of my life this whole time. So that was really dope. Yeah, best. It was, I platinumed it. That's how fun it was, which was insane. Like I got all the trophies.
How long did it take you?
I'd say to platinum the game, to beat the game base way through just to roll credits, it probably would take it. I think it took me maybe like 3.5 hours, maybe.
Right.
But then to platinum everything, I'd say it probably cranked it up to maybe 8 hours. Because most of it is just go through, get everything, and then there's a couple other niche little trophies where it's like do this specific thing in this specific spot. Where it's like it's fun to go through and see if you do those things your first way through, but then afterwards you're like, I wouldn't have thought to do this. I'm gonna just go find that thing and do it and get the trophy. But yeah, it was a fun achievement hunt. I don't really do it that often, and the game was small enough where I felt like I could get it done. So yeah, great game. if you ever if you know somebody or can get yourself a PlayStation 5, that is totally a game that is worth playing 100%. So, yeah, Astro's Playroom. Nikkei.
Yes.
You've been diving into the virtual world, not with Final Fantasy Online, but you've been playing a lot of Phantasy Star Online too.
Yes, New Genesis.
Yeah, how's that been going?
So it's pretty interesting. Recently, in I want to say mid-December or beginning of December, they dropped a new region called the Retem region, which is kind of like more of like a desert region. So if you're familiar with Phantasy Star Online 2, you might be more familiar with the old formula of the game, which is like you kind of have like a main ship that you're on. It's kind of like an RPG. Well, I mean, it is an RPG. But you create your character, and then you start off in like this kind of like hub overworld kind of like ship, and then it's like you go down and do missions in like these different fields, and then like you go kill a boss, whatever, and then you come back. Kind of like I want to say Monster Hunter World in that sense, where it's just like it's not as expansive, but it's very instance based. That's the classic version of PSO2. The difference in New Genesis is that it's a bit more open world, so it's not really just you going to a hub world, going out, and then coming back. It's just all open world, more MMORPG style. I want to say, just for comparison's sake, it's kind of Breath of the World, or I'm sorry, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the World.
I hope that's
Breath
the
of the Wild-ish
name now. Breath of the World.
Yeah, Breath of the World. But yeah, no, it kind of has that formula of Breath of the Wild, or I guess you could even say like Genshin Impact light. I say light because the environment isn't as immersive as the other two, in my opinion, especially Genshin's, but it has a similar like concept of you can scale any mountain you want, you can go anywhere you want, fight enemies wherever you want. It's very, very action-packed, and I would say that's maybe one of the best things I like about the game. Content is a little slow, or has been a little slow. I think they're kind of addressing that now, because there was a while where for like some months we just didn't have any new regions or anything to like new to do, and the level cap was like so low. It was like level 20. So now it's been increased to 40 through the new Retem expansion. Also free to play, so I just want to put that out there if you ever want to play it. It's cross-platform. I believe it's on Xbox and
Xbox
PC,
and
of
PC,
course,
right?
but also
Yeah.
Xbox. Yeah, and I want to say PlayStation, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, no, it's really fun. Like, I really love the combat the most out of it. It has a very, like, if I had to compare it to anything, I want to say it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts Light.
Have you
Like,
played
in the
Have you
sense
played
of,
Xenoblade
like,
before? Because it gives me like Xenoblade Chronicles X vibes looking at it, to be honest.
Yeah, it has that like same aesthetic. I would say gameplay wise and mechanic wise, it's a little bit more different. Like it's very hack and slashy. It's very big on like parrying whenever you can, like reading the enemy's movements and like parrying, and then like doing like a revenge kind of like counter attack on them to get a little more damage in. The floor is lava a lot of the times when you're just like stringing combos, and you can just switch weapons like on a dime, like literally like moving your mouse wheel. Like if you're playing on PC, moving your mouse wheel, you can like switch between weapons just like that, and you can just switch in between like up to like 5 at a time. And you can also have like 2 classes on your character at a single time. You can use most of their skills between the two, so it's really nice because some classes complement others like very, very well. In my case, I'm a fighter and a what's the secondary class? A bouncer. Bouncer is what it's called. And each class kind of has like weapons that are kind of like exclusive to those classes in some cases. Some are just kind of like general weapons. But yeah, it's a really fun time. I would say like the only downside to it is that the content hasn't been as consistent, but hopefully that'll change going forward. But yeah, character creation is really, really good.
So what's keeping you playing this and not getting you converted over to Final Fantasy 14 Online?
So I think for me, like I said, the combat is one of the bigger things. Like I respect Final Fantasy 14 just for what it is. Like it's a tight, like it's basically it's a very, very successful MMO. I like Phantasy Star just because the action combat aspect of it just makes it feel just more engaging and just more interesting, personally. I would say maybe in terms of like world building, Final Fantasy 14 probably has a lot more going on with it in terms of like terrain and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in a way it's kind of hard to compare the two because they're very different games.
It's totally
honestly,
different vibes
even though
entirely.
they're both MMOs. Yeah, different vibes entirely. Like just the pacing and everything. Also, I heard Final Fantasy 14's kind of dealing with some server issues.
It's too good. It's too good. It's too good.
Issues. But I do want to try 14 at some point. I really do. It looks really fun. It would be an adjustment for me because I've been kind of spoiled to action combat MMOs versus what 14 is, which is what's called tab target MMOs. I guess to kind of like explain that for people who aren't aware. So like tab target MMOs are kind of like World of Warcraft, where it's like you basically select an enemy with your cursor and you just kind of like spam your keys and you don't really have to dodge or anything because it's kind of like
it's like an auto attack
everything
system.
is like everything's like on an auto attack system, right? So it's not like projectiles don't really matter. It's like once you register that you activate the attack, it'll still hit.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like so it's not quite turn-based, but it's it's very much like hit scan is the word for it. Versus something like this where it's like you can actually dodge, like you can actually get out of an enemy's like range of attack and vice versa. So it's like you actually have to like you can block and it's
like an actual action RPG type of thing.
Exactly. It's very much action combat and it's very, very quick. It's very, very fast paced. A lot of enemies will attack you at once and it's so satisfying. Like it's so hard to explain. Honestly, you just have to try it.
Have you been mainly playing solo, or even like playing with like some people?
Yeah. Actually, I think Pizza used to play.
Yeah, I remember. I remember Sean used to. Then he went over to the Final Fantasy 14 side. I think that's what he's on. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely a good time. A very good time. Definitely. I'm looking at the chat too. Sam is definitely give it a shot. It is a lot of fun.
Cool.
I like it personally.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about both, but with the way my my backlog is set up, I can't really afford to be getting into MMOs right now. So, but yeah.
I feel that.
But let's see. Speaking of MMOs and getting jacked into whatever the fuck, I tried it. We're talking about The Matrix. Logan.
Hey, Matrix. Yeah. The new movie came out and everyone and their mother watched it and it was very divisive.
Can I so what's it call it? So IGN got their early access review before, like a week before the movie came out, or like the week the movie came out. They gave it like a 4. And everyone on the Facebook post was like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, they didn't pay you enough to give them a 10. Oh, what the fuck, blah, 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 blah. Then the movie came out, and then people went back to that post and updated that post. They're like, yeah, you were right. My bad. Like, yeah, it was pretty bad. My bad, dog.
Okay. Personal take on it, though. I enjoyed it. I watched it, and I was not upset that I watched it, right? Like, I think I'm just kind of a sucker for the universe, maybe. Maybe a little bit of sucker for Keanu Reeves. I thought some of the self-referential things that it did, like the meta things that it did, were it's like they didn't treat them that seriously. Like they were kind of making fun of themselves in the process, and I liked that. And the action sequences were fun.
They were still good.
It was just everything was still. It was exactly what I wanted from a Matrix film, right? I wasn't going in thinking like this has to be the best movie ever, or it has to be just as good as the first Matrix films or anything like that. I was just like, okay, this is entertainment, and guess what? I was entertained.
So did you have to rewatch the first 3 before watching the 4th one, or?
Oh no! I mean, as long as you have an understanding of the universe before, I still kind of get the gist of the first 3 films and how they played out. So I didn't even bother.
So you personally didn't have to rewatch the first 3. I already know. I haven't watched this yet, so I already know I gotta watch the first 3 again because I couldn't tell you anything aside from the bullet hell scene from the first Matrix. What happened in the Matrix in red pill, blue pill. That's all I know. How deep does the rabbit hole go?
I rewatched them in recent years, right? And I kind of know the order of operations, or at the very least, like every reference or flashback that they made to the first 3 films, and how they were building out the universe with this movie. Like none of it was like, oh, I'm shocked, right? It was always like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed it in that way.
Cool. Nikkei, have you ever watched any of the Matrix films before, or have you ever cared to?
I've seen them in passing when I was younger. Like I remember seeing, I think maybe it was like I couldn't even tell you which one it was. I know there was like a swarm of like these monsters or whatever the fuck that they were like fighting.
Were they fighting on a highway?
I think so.
There was one.
It was so long ago. Like I was a kid, but yeah, no, I kind of want to go back and watch the movies now, like just as an adult, just like watch through the whole thing. Because I feel like that's a part of like pop culture I just kind of miss. But yeah, no, I haven't really watched much of the franchise. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things that it's a part of pop culture, but also like not everybody has seen, but it's like, yeah,
you just know
like about it. Yeah,
gets a reference. It's like, oh, he's leaning back and dodging bullets. Yep, that's a Matrix.
That's a Matrix reference. Yeah. Red pill, blue pill. How deep does the rabbit hole go? Morpheus, blah blah blah, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
My biggest hope, honestly, out of this movie is that they do like a modern Matrix game, like with the amount of like action and action adventure games out there, specifically like 3D ones that have absolutely like mastered like combat feel and systems and all that other stuff. Like with all that modern stuff, like give me Enter the Matrix 2, right? Throw me in a video game, and they had that like PS5 demo.
Yeah, the Unreal Engine 5 thing, and everyone who's played it said it was visually stunning, but
right, but like it's just a demo. It's just there for looks and whatnot. And so I want a game that looks like that, but then like the action is as refined as it is in like, I don't know, the Arkham games or Spider-Man PS4.
I think Platinum could also help with that too, because I don't know, the whole bullet time thing I think would be cool in a Matrix game. Just the off the wall action that Platinum is known for would
I think there's the potential for like an absolutely incredible like modern Matrix.
And then they just mocap Keanu Reeves into it again, because why not,
Why not?
He's like a supporting character. He's not actually playable. Yeah. He's like the Rodin to your Bayonetta or something like that.
I would even take like an open world like Matrix game, right? Like give me all the points to go to, figure out like, all the things and all the different interactions. Like there's just so much potential for something like that. Or even bringing it back as like an MMO, right? That might be like the most appropriate way. But also, again, like where games were at the time, like there were limitations, and now there are less so. And now I'm just like making myself wet on the thought of what it could be, and something that I'll probably never get, right?
Yeah, I do need to. That's like one of the big movies of last year that I have not seen yet. But it's because it's a 3-movie prerequisite to watching it. So, but I mean, I don't know why I'm talking, because I literally just watched like one of the biggest franchises that existed that actually officially came to an end recently. I watched every Harry Potter movie in a week, maybe like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Was that like one a day or something like that?
Yeah,
it have to be at least like one of those days you have to watch like 2 movies.
Yeah, I think me and Aisha did the first 2 movies the first day, and then one movie every other day after that. But yeah, it was a ride, dude. So let me preface this with, when I was a kid, my parents basically gatekeeped one of the most successful franchises in the world from me for purely religious reasons. And now, looking back, I'm like, that's dumb that you were really that afraid of me watching this shit. Like,
Yeah,
this shit,
same.
it's so corny. Like, watching the first movie, right? I'm like, what could have possibly gone wrong with letting your second grader watch this movie of kids in a mythical world riding on broomsticks, just being kids, right? Like, there's nothing that could have negatively affected me watching the Harry Potter franchise as it happened, right? But also, watching it now that I'm 27, going back and watching the whole thing front to back on HBO Max, I'm kind of, it's kind of interesting, the timing, because literally this year was the 20th anniversary of the franchise. This year was the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter even being a thing. And then at the beginning of this year, 2022, they dropped the anniversary reunion movie on HBO Max. And after watching the whole thing with Aisha and my girl, so she was with it ever since the beginning. She even read the books. That's how deep in this shit she was, right? Like, she's known her Potter house more than she knows her Potter house over her blood type. That's where she is in the franchise.
Damn.
Like, but I never really cared that much until recently. But seeing that this franchise was so big for so long, and it actually got like a nightcap, like it's done, it got closure. Like, they went back and got all the actors back, and she's like, "You're talking about it without me." Like, I'm gonna have her on for another thing to talk about it. But yeah, it was crazy, dude. Like, I actually got emotional because I was just like, wow, this franchise was so popular. And I remember watching the trailers when I was in high school and seeing like Deathly Hallows Part 1, Deathly Hallows Part 2, Prisoner of Azkaban, all this stuff, and I'm just like, it must be nice to be in the fandom for that show, that movie, because it's still going. It's still going. And then I finally watched the whole thing, and yeah. It was a fun ride. It was a really fun ride. Are either of you into Harry Potter or no?
So I kind of went through a similar upbringing where it was like, yeah, like that's witchcraft, we can't watch that because the church said we couldn't, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's like, I mean, my mom kind of stopped giving a shit as we like became teenagers and stuff, because it's like she kind of reached a point where she's like, look, I did my part as a parent. I let you, like, I brought you into the church. It's up to you if you want to stay in it or if you want to like pursue your own religion. She's like, I don't care what you believe in, just as long as you believe in something. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So it's like, I mean, I guess as I got older, just kind of just watch whatever I wanted. And I kind of wish I went back and watched Harry Potter. I didn't. I've been meaning to, though, because my sister, she's a huge Harry Potter nerd. And she's also like Aisha, where like she knows her her house and everything like that. Like, I don't know shit about Harry Potter. Okay, I shouldn't say I don't know anything. Like, I know very, very, very little. So, but yeah, it's something that I do kind of want to just take the time to just go back and watch.
It's very interesting doing it because like the movies are so dated now in a way, because it's like the movies ended in like 2012, and the first movie came out in like 2001, 2, one of those. So like the acting early on is like, oh, you can tell this is, and also the CG and the special effects when they were riding on brooms, it's like they mixed in the CG, so it's like it was very bad visuals, so bad. Like, seeing how the special effects got better movie after movie, and how everything just got better as things went on, was so cool. It's like watching the MCU from the beginning. You get to see how visuals improve over time. So that was a really cool treat for me. But one major takeaway from me being a casual into the franchise, the wizarding world, I love. I love the concept of the world. I love the magic. I love the fantasy. I love everything about that. Like, I want to go to Universal Studios and go to the Wizarding World area now, because of this franchise. But the Harry Potter storyline itself, I give like a 3.5, to be honest. Like, I give the Harry Potter storyline a 3.5, but I give the world a 5. Like, there's that Hogwarts Legacy game coming out next year, or this year maybe, which I hope we get more stuff on it. I hope it comes out soon, where it's like you're basically a character, your own wizard in this wizarding world. and you get to just do whatever you want. It's almost like MMO style, or like you're a student at Hogwarts and they just make it one big thing, very interactive and things like that. I want to be able to just run around and fly on a broomstick and teleport and do whatever I want to and cast magic in this world, but I don't care about the Harry Potter storyline that much, right?
You know, it's funny you say that. This unlocked a memory for me where I think I did see like the end of like Half-Blood Prince. Is that what it's called?
I mean,
one of the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah,
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess the person like revealed who it was. I don't want to like spoil it for anyone who just hasn't seen it, I guess, but like, but yeah, like they revealed it, and I was like, oh, okay. And it's like I'm assuming that was a big deal, and but because there was so much context that was lost on me, it was just like, okay. Cool.
Yeah. And also, it's also funny because like at least it's funny because like Aisha, she read the books and she was like, oh yeah, this movie was a better book, to be honest. They fleshed out things a lot more in the book, and I'm like, I bet they do. I'm not gonna read the book though. But it's like, I'm just like, it's like it also seemed like
games I've heard.
Yeah, like, I mean, of course, when you're going from like the book to movie translation, you gotta TLDR some things for people who don't really care. But like,
there's only so much you can fit on screen. You know?
But there was like this arc at the last segment of the movies, right, where they have to basically get these items to defeat the big bad of the franchise, and it's like, oh, they fit this whole arc into 2 movies, which was technically 1 book, where they could have actually had this thing happening throughout the whole franchise, and they could have been finding one of these items throughout the whole franchise, and that would have been a little more interesting. But I'm like, I guess that's not what happened, but whatever. Also, they did a whole bunch of like how people got in relationships and like that type of thing. That was really weird to see, because I was like, I don't really like, because Aisha was complaining about who gets with who, and I'm like, I don't get it. And then at the end, I'm like, I fucking hate this also. So, yeah, it's really interesting just jumping into such a big franchise of pop culture so late in the game, literally like right when it's ending completely, and you're like, damn, this is like a whole part of my life that wasn't a part of it, and I'm just seeing like the tail end of it. So I bet it was cool growing up with Harry Potter, like from the beginning, and having that be a part of your life for 20 years. Yeah. Like, that was probably dope, but I got it all in a month.
Also, being able to watch all that stuff in ignorance of certain facts about the author.
Oh yeah, no, Aisha as a fan, she's like, oh yeah, everyone disowns that person. We just don't. We like the Wizarding World. Fuck the person who created it, you know. But
right.
Yeah, but I'm also just like, the Wizarding World itself. Like, they don't even call it Harry Potter anymore. It's just the Wizarding World. If they were just to start making more franchises or like subplots in the world, I would be down for it, bro. Like a whole show based around Quidditch. I didn't get Quidditch before. Quidditch is kind of cool. Quidditch is kind of dope. And I'm like, I've been doing a whole bunch of retro game hunting recently, and I found the Quidditch World Cup game for my GameCube, and I got that, and I was like, this is pretty fun. I would have liked this as a kid. But also I remember like Columbia College Chicago had a Quidditch team, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about real life Quidditch. That seems kind of stupid, but I need to like look up some videos on it.
You don't get to do all the magic stuff with it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm like, that. I feel like, what's the point? You can't be doing loop-de-loops and like weaving through trees, chasing the golden snitch on a broom. What's the point? At this point, it's just football without football. But
yeah, just play like real games that you can actually play. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Or just LARP.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I've only seen maybe the first 3 films in the series. Like, I keep like, okay, time to let's hop into Harry Potter. Like, I want to watch like a fantasy series, and and honestly, it's fun. Like, they're fun movies. I just haven't been able to get past like, and maybe part of it is I keep telling myself that I'm gonna just like not watch it, and then when I finally watch it, it'll be at the like request of somebody else. Like, I don't know, it's been a few years since I dated anybody. Like, if I watched it now and then got with somebody who's like, oh my god, you haven't watched the Harry Potter films, like, that's 8 films of cuddling. Like, that's a great reason to watch 8 films.
Yeah, that was. So... I mean, like, if Aisha wasn't into Harry Potter and I wasn't into Harry Potter, like, I probably wouldn't have watched the movies. Like, the main reason I got into it was because I was like, I'm a part of a lot of fandoms, and she's like, she has her main fandoms that she grew up with and stuff, and I was just like, yeah, let me dive into this to like experience what it was like to be a part of this thing that was a big part of your childhood. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now, like, I made a Pottermore account, or like a Wizarding World account, and I know like my house is Gryffindor. I know what my wand is. And my Patronus is a rhinoceros, and I'm like, hey, let's get it, Ramby. So, but yeah, it's cool. It's real cool.
Yeah, man. I love that. I have HBO Max, so I'll probably get.
They're all on there. Yeah, they were off of it for a while. So like they took them. They were on there initially when the streaming platform started, but then they removed them. Probably for licensing reasons, and then I went out to a local like used media store, bought every single Harry Potter movie physical for like maybe $45, and then they put them right the fuck back on. So just and I was like, I mean, I got them physical now, so I don't mind owning them all now. Like, they're actually relevant to me at this point. So yeah. But yeah, that was cool.
I feel the same way about Lord of the Rings right now. It's like I actually had like the whole extended trilogy of Lord of the Rings physically, and then I sold them. But now they're all on HBO Max.
See, Lord of the Rings is a weird franchise for me because I've seen the first movie so many times. Same with like The Hobbit. I've seen those movies so many times, and I think I've only seen the second Lord of the Rings movie once, and I've never seen the third one. And I've never seen any of the other Hobbit movies because they're so damn long, bro. They're so long.
I haven't finished all the Hobbit movies, but I have read the book, and I've started to read Lord of the Rings as well just recently.
See, here's the thing, right? Thematically, like as far as like that whole thing goes, I should love Lord of the Rings because I'm into that shit. I'm into the whole like medieval magic, whatever. But like, I just didn't get through the first movie.
It's kind of, it's very slow in the beginning. It's very slow.
Yeah, and the thing is, when it was introduced to me, my friend had the extended version, and we were watching like for the first one, and we only got through like halfway through it, and I forgot why we didn't watch the other half, because like I think I had to like go home or something like that, and we just never picked it back up. And this was like in high school. We never picked it back up. I never went back to it.
Dude, I have some besties that are like super into Lord of the Rings. Like they had a screening in IMAX a couple months back. Was like 12 hours of Lord of the Rings, like back to back to back. And they were like, "We're doing it. We're gonna go watch all the Lord of the Rings movies in IMAX back for 12 hours, like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m." And I was like, "Bro, y'all are insane." And they were like, "We had a great time." And they've seen all the movies before, and I'm like, "Bro, why are you waiting all that time?" 12 hours. But anyway.
God.
But anywho,
it's worth it. I don't know if I'd recommend anybody like actually sitting back to back to back watching all the extended films, because that's a lot. But I don't know. I keep feeling compelled to enter like that space, right? That I want to keep asking the questions of like, okay, what about this world do I like? Because there's a lot to dig into with that series. Even I'd say even more so than Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of layers.
It's uncomfortably deep.
Speaking of worlds that you get lost in, Logan, what's going on with Barry? A show on apparently that.
Oh
might
my
be also
god.
This is also on HBO Max?
It is also on HBO Max.
Okay.
So I watched the first season quite some time ago, like when it first released, and then ever since then they've had a second season, and it's been out for a while. And so I just recently got around to watching the second season, and oh my god, I love that show. It's a black comedy, right? It's about Barry, who is an Marine turned hitman. And then essentially the show starts when he kind of falls in with this group of actors, right? Up at not even like famous actors, just like people who like, oh, they're in the theater and they're doing it, and maybe they're trying to get gigs on the side while they do it. And he finds a passion for this, and it contradicts everything that he's doing with, the hits that he does. So eventually he decides, like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And it's like this back and forth of him trying to maintain like this like normal life, trying to be an actor and trying to have relationships and trying to learn how to be a human, while everything about his hitman marine past keeps coming and pulling him back in. And then because he's a hitman, there's a lot of death in it, right? There's a lot of times where he'll go in and he'll have to do a hit, or some other stuff will happen which will make him enemies somewhere else and get him pulled into more shenanigans, which just continually grow over time, right? The amount of like bullshit he has to deal with is just ever growing while he's trying to grasp to like some normalcy or some sense of like stability and happiness, while also just being incredibly awkward the entire time. Because Barry is played by Bill Hader.
Yeah, I was like, just an interesting role for him to be in. I'm just like, I don't see him in many other roles outside of office gifts. So
I think it's the perfect role for him.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think I think that casting is absolutely perfect.
Wait, is he the guy that was Dwight?
No.
Is that him? Oh, okay. I was looking
at Bill Hader is
I forget that guy's name.
Is ex SNL.
Oh yeah, he was on SNL.
Okay.
So he was SNL maybe like 90s, 2000s, right? And then he went on to do other things.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, great
I got
show.
The wrong person.
Yeah, great show. That's on HBO Max. I've been like pushing myself to watch specifically more like dark black comedy, right? Because like there's something about it that's like, okay, I'm immensely uncomfortable watching this. Like sometimes I can only watch like an episode and then I have to like watch the next episode 24 hours later.
Is it like just like dark humor or just deep themes?
Dark humor specifically. Okay. Like everything about it is comical, but also like people are dying, or like something like just dark will happen, but they're always like pushing for like, yeah, no, this is part of the joke, right? Like this is the thing that's happening. Like again, like the contrast between him doing like these, in-show performances where he's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be open, and all of a sudden, but then it gets like deep, and then it gets dark, and then like being conscious of those contradictions, it makes the situations that he enters like comical, right? I mean, that's why they say like tragedy and comedy are like, two sides of the same coin, right? And they really, really put that to the test in something like Barry. It's great. It's great. I recommend it to anybody who's got, if you're not into like violence, you probably won't like it. But if you don't mind, like just death and heads getting blown out.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting show. I'll probably add this to my my watch list on HBO Max. I didn't even know the show existed until just now. So, because I watched Happy on Netflix. So, have you seen Happy?
I have not seen.
It's the one where it's like it was the one with the blue like talking unicorn and the cop. It was like a detective murder mystery type of show. It's also like a dark comedy type of show. So I'm like, I think I would enjoy this. Yeah, but also like I said, seeing Bill Hader playing a role that's not like a voice acting role or and just like a comedy movie will be interesting to see. So I will for sure check this out. This seems like
it's like the character isn't trying to be comedic, but he's always in like those uber uncomfortable situations. But that's the comedy, right?
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm gonna check that out at some point for sure. Add to queue. Let's see. You've also been watching more shows, Nikkei. Yes. And also, I have also been watching this show, but I haven't watched it in a minute. You've been watching Scissor Seven on Netflix.
Yeah, well, maybe not.
Oh, you've been watching Scissor Seven. You've been watching Scissor Seven.
But it is available on Netflix if you want to watch it properly.
That's where I've been watching it.
But yeah, no. So Scissor Seven is actually a Chinese anime.
Yeah.
And it's very, very. I don't really know how to describe it, honestly. Like, I want to say like action comedy.
Yeah,
very
that's
more on the comedy side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically about this teen. His name is Seven, and he's a barber at like this little salon, and like he uses these scissors. But he also has powers where he can kind of like manipulate the scissors, kind of like Mob Psycho. So it's like telekinesis a little bit. Mm-hmm. And basically, his boss / best friend is this little like blue chicken who's like. Trying to also train him to be an assassin. And the thing is, it's one of those shows where it's like his job is usually to kill someone or whatever, but then like by the end of it, they end up becoming like an ally of his or like a friend or whatever. It's weirdly like, even though it's like an action comedy, it's weirdly wholesome most of the time. It's like it's always unexpected too. It's like you're always expecting it to be like this kind of like, you know, this shonen kind of like, you know, typical thing, and then it just turns out to be wholesome. And it's like, are you watching? It feels great.
Are you watching Scissor Seven dubbed or subbed?
I'm watching it dubbed, and I highly recommend it dubbed.
I was about to say I'm watching it dubbed as well. And what's funny about Scissor Seven is, like you said, it's a Chinese anime or Chinese cartoon, and it's weird because it seems like the dubbing is either like intentionally low budget or intentionally bad. But it like grows on you because it kind of fits with the wackiness of the show. Like it has like this odd feel to it. It's almost like, remember when Shin-chan was on Toonami?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same vibes where it just feels like the dubbers are having a fun time, but it's also like they're not really trying super hard to like make the dub really good. Exactly. But it's just enough where you can know what's happening, and that's it. Like, Seven's voice is super fucking weird. Like, Seven's voice is so weird.
It's like, I would say, like, to add on to that, the voice acting just feels normal. Like, it feels, like, natural, and that's what makes it so good. It's like, because the guy who voices Seven, it's like, he's actually, like, a Chinese dude, and, like, so it's like, he actually has, like, the accent and everything, and it fits, and it feels so organic and funny. Like, even just, like, how they sometimes, like, swear under their breath or, like, in the background, and it just adds a layer of humor to it.
Yeah.
Like, there was this one time, like, the little chicken, Daibo, like, he tripped and fell or something in the background, and he was like, oh, fuck, that hurt. And, like, it was so subtle, but, like, it's like you can hear it in the background. It was just fun. It added more, like, humor to the situation. But it's definitely a really, really good show. The episodes are fairly short. They're usually somewhere between, like, 12 to 17 minutes, sometimes 20. But it's a very good watch. We just finished the last aired season, which is season 3. I believe. Yeah, season 3. There's going to be a season 4, supposedly, or a movie. There's definitely a movie coming up soon. We don't know when. But it's definitely a really, really good watch. I highly recommend it. It's just great. It's great. And the action...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, so what you were saying earlier about it being, like, seemingly low budget. Like, the show looks like super low budget most of the time, but once the fight scene starts, like, that's where all the budget goes. It's kind of like Mob Psycho in that same vein, where it's like, it's seemingly low budget and, like, kind of careless, but once the fights start, oh man, it's a whole nother story.
Also, the emotions depicted on people's faces are really well done too.
Yeah, it has like that simple art style, and then like whenever they want to like really drive home like an emotion, like their faces will have like so much detail for no reason. Yeah, it's so good.
And also, Scissor Seven is a show where you don't really have to pay super hard attention to what's going on most of the time. Like, I have it on like sometimes when I'm eating, or just like it's just a background show. and I was just absorbing the information as it came. But also, it's like one of those like enemy of the week type of shows too, but also it has like an underlying plot kinda, because you're watching it.
Does.
Yeah, because you're watching it, and then it's like things start to pick up a little bit here and there, and then like they'll have the season climactic like thing where things start to tie in together and it rolls over. But overall, it's just a nice low energy watch. Like, I recommend checking it out for sure. Add it to your watch list. Check it out somewhere.
Also recommend watching the specials, because those kind of give backstories to some of the main characters, especially like Daibo and like the girl here that you see in this scene. Her name is 11, I think it is. No, 13. Her name's 13. And that's the thing about the show. So it's like they're all like assassins or whatever. And the thing is, the main character 7 actually has a past that's starting to catch up with him that he also forgot because he has amnesia. And it's starting to sort of like come back to him like piece by piece. So it's really interesting because the whole show, like as the seasons progress, is starting to kind of like dive into that and bring that back into the picture. So yeah, the story definitely picks up, and it's really good. I can't get over how good it is. It's just the best thing I've watched in a while.
Would recommend.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Add it to the. I'd probably give it like a.
And watch it dubbed.
7.5. Yeah, the dub is worth. The dub is worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where it's like, do you watch the sub or the dub? It's like, just watch the dub. Don't act
it's like
don't act snobby about it. Just watch the dub. It's like watching Panty and Stocking. You gotta just watch the dub.
Exactly. Also, Air Gear. Air Gear is another one you gotta watch dubbed.
Yeah,
like,
you could just tell they're having fun the whole time. They're not trying super heavy, but yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, we each have one thing. We have an overlap with one. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this one. Yeah. Ooh. All right, Logan.
Hey.
So, you and me have a good amount to say about this one. I actually haven't really had a lot of time to talk with people about this on an official platform. So yes, what better time to talk about this than on Binge Blast? Halo Infinite.
I am so upset that my computer is currently out of commission because I could be playing Halo Infinite.
I need to get into that. I'm not big on shooters, but I've heard so much good about it.
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, so before my computer went kaput, I was actively in the middle of the campaign, right? And I have my criticisms of the campaign and some of the open world elements.
It's a fun time, though. It's a fun time.
But yeah, I like running around big open space. I like killing bad guys, and I like floaty jump. I like grenades, and I like grappling hook. Oh my god, the grappling hook! I'm constantly using the grappling hook.
That's crazy.
It's so much fun. The mobility, and just calling in a warthog or something like that. I'm honestly really upset that they didn't have co-op right from the get-go.
Yeah, when it does drop, you can already tell. Like when you're playing through the campaign, you can tell that like on the fobs, you can see there's 4 boxes, and I'm like, there's supposed to be 4 people at this fob right now, grabbing stuff.
Yeah, 4-player co-op in that game would be absolutely incredible. I mean, so they obviously you can fill up your warthog with USMC Marines or whatever. Which is cool. It kind of helps the world breathe a little bit more to be like, all right, I'm freeing these characters, and then they get to help me out when I'm doing.
But then I just leave the warthog, and I leave them always. I leave them behind all the time. Then I just go and be Master Chief somewhere else.
No, I like carrying them with me as much as I can. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, I can't take the warthog up with me, but I just gotten to the point in the campaign where they started throwing actual flying ships at me.
Yeah.
And I'm just really disappointed. Not to mention just how good the multiplayer is. It's just so good. It goes down smooth.
Them making the multiplayer free to play was a bold choice, and honestly, Battle Pass aside, fucking quality gameplay, man. Like one of the most solid games that you can download right now and just play.
Like, I think I can both acknowledge the fact that any battle pass ever is predatory, while also just saying that, like, God, the core gameplay and the core loop is just way too good to pass up. So, like, even if you don't, play or you don't buy the battle pass and get all of the extra cosmetics, it's just a good time with friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally everyone who's played it that used to play Halo back in high school or like on the 360 with 3 Reach ODST, everyone's like, it's like I never left. It's like I never left, and we're just back. Yeah. Like,
that was the last time I played Halo. And
then get it, dude. That's literally, you're the demographic. You're the demographic.
Yeah, like the multiplayer portion's free. Like, it's not even a question. Just download the app,
Nice.
Literally,
is it cross-platform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cross-play with Xbox and PC players, like seamlessly.
Nice.
It's amazing. Yeah. So let's like where do we want to go with this real quick? Like, let's like gush a little bit, right? So, when was the last time you played Halo Infinite recently?
I mean, it's probably been like 2 weeks at this point, just because of my computer.
Okay, same. Because I haven't played recently. I just been playing other games, and I like kind of put Halo on the back burner a little bit. But it's like it's like a bike; you don't forget how to play. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it. But
I mean, I keep wanting to. Like, once I get my computer fixed, right? Like, that's one of the first things I'm going to be downloading to get back into.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a good time. I think just through my time playing the campaign and the multiplayer, and I probably have I have a good handful of hours in the game already. All I can say is that I love the battle rifle to death. I think the battle rifle might be my favorite gun from like any game ever. Like, I don't know what it is, and maybe it's just the way that it feels within the campaign. But I've gotten so good at aiming with that thing, and figuring out how, like, okay, you got this 3-round burst, and how that behaves when you're, running the cursor across like a grunt's head or something like that. Just feels way too good. I don't know. That game feel is just beyond like anything.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's like just Halo with the basic shooter control scheme. Because one thing I like kind of annoyed me a little bit about Halo before this one was there was like a special control scheme to Halo where it's like the melee button or like the grenade button and like reloading and stuff were on like awkward buttons. But now they're like just give it. Everyone already knows what the layout is, right? Just put everything where it needs to go, and then just give everyone the Halo tools, and then just let them go crazy. Big team battle is still like some of the most fun I've had with friends in a while playing video games. Like, it's no longer the whole thing of, oh, we have like 3 or 4 people, we can't have you join us. Now it's like, oh, we have like 7 people that all want to play Halo at the same time. Let's just play some big team and just do some capture the flag or Slayer or just do some crazy shit and just have fun for a couple hours. Like, it's so great, dude. Like, Halo Infinite for sure has been locked in as one of my evergreen games for the year. Like, I'm gonna be playing Halo Infinite and probably like Pokemon Unite, and then when Multiverses comes out, I'm gonna be playing that. And like, but Halo is locked in. Like, I'm not gonna be dropping this game anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's still how many months left with the Battle Pass?
The Battle Pass is going on. This season's going on until May, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone being mad up front. Yeah. So like, what they did, they're like jumping into the jumping into the multiplayer online free-to-play market right now is always an iffy touch and go road for any game developer, I guess. And for sure, more than ever, the Halo devs had to figure something out. So initially it was terrible. It was like very, like, you weren't really getting rewarded for playing the game. Like, you weren't getting that much experience up front. The challenges were pretty bad, and it was hard to just progress the battle pass. But they also said the season's gonna go from like November when it started to May, and that's the longest in-game season that has existed in like years. Because usually, like, an in-game season for another game is, what, like 3 months? Maybe? Like, Fortnite be flipping, like, seasons in, like, every 3 months, I think. Or Apex does a season and then there's an event every other week or something like that. But Halo is going, yeah, we're going to give everyone time to play the game, have fun with it, and if you actually care about this battle pass, by the end of the season, you will actually have everything. It's not going to be like a race to make this game the only game you play and then make you log all these hours in to get level 100. It's going to be play the game how much you want to, and if you play it as much as you like casually, by the time the season's over, you're probably going to have everything. And I appreciate that. Especially if you have the battle pass, then you get the boost, and then you just can go up a couple levels in like a day or something like that. So
yeah, I mean, that's what free-to-play games are now, is like these systems that are like meant to foment like FOMO, right? Like a fear of missing out. And so like if they're gonna go the free-to-play route, you know, if they're gonna go the battle pass route, like one of the best ways they could do that is just give, you know, the players time to say that, like, if I spent, you know, so much on a battle pass, that eventually if I keep playing the game, that I'm going to be able to unlock everything in the battle.
And then even still, like, even after May, the first season battle pass, you can still continue going into that battle pass because the battle passes won't expire, which I think is amazing and a thing that all games should do, to be honest.
Yeah, like if I'm paying for something, like I get the whole thing where I have to play to unlock this stuff, but I'm still paying for it, and I still want the opportunity, even if I fall off of it for a while, that I get what I paid for.
Yeah, Nikkei, you should totally download Halo. I'm always down to play Halo whenever people want to play. I'm like,
you have to carry me a little bit.
I mean, that's fine. That's like Halo. That's the thing about Halo too, right? It's like you play Halo, and we could just jump into some big team where like there's the objective modes like capture the flag and all this other stuff. Like people are like, oh, I'm not that good. It's like, bro, we're having a good time. We're in a warthog, and we just exploded and flew off a cliff. I don't care. We're just having a good ass time. And it's like
love getting road kills.
Yeah, Halo is like the most accessible shooter on the market right now, I think too. I think that's why it's gonna be so successful, because like even when you get into a firefight in like Call of Duty or even like Apex, you're like whoever gets the first shot off first like dies, but it's like you kind of I feel like I have more of a chance when I get into a Halo firefight. But also I think it's just also there aren't a lot of like non-battle royale online free-to-play games out right now.
True.
So Halo brought back like the battle arena shooter, which I think is great. So it's like actually I can get my itch of I just want to shoot people and just have fun that way instead of actually like being stressed out about being number one in a battle royale. Yeah. It's great. It's a fun time. Also, I'm
actively tired of battle royales.
Although I do know for a fact Halo could pull one off if they wanted to. They already have the vehicles. They already have the vehicles.
I'm glad they didn't, though.
Up front, I'm glad they didn't. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if down the line they do.
Yeah, but up front, I'm glad they didn't have one. Yeah.
Right, but like again, considering the fact that they're gonna be supporting this game, I think they said for at least like 10 years.
They have a 10-year plan. Yeah.
For at least like the multiplayer portion of the battle pass, like that makes sense, right? To fit that many years in. I just hope it also comes with a ton of extra like campaign content. Right?
Oh, I think they already mentioned that. Yeah.
The co-op. Yeah. Like I want more areas, and maybe what I'll see when I finish the campaign, whenever I get back around to it, is that there's a whole lot of space on the map that just isn't filled with anything, right? And so it's only a matter of time till like, oh, here's an expansion, and that's gonna fill out a section of the world, you know?
Yeah, and then like you said with co-op, once they add that in, I will play through I can't wait to just jump into the campaign on Legendary and just play through that with friends. That is gonna be hilarious. Oh my god, that is gonna be so stupid. I mean,
that was one of the thoughts I had, was like, okay, I'm playing through this on normal right now, but as soon as I find another reason to play through the campaign again, like bump up that difficulty and get on with my friends. You know?
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Can't wait. Let's see. Nikkei.
Yes.
Let's move on to, speaking of playing games with friends or not, whaling. Genshin Impact. You've been playing
Yes.
that. How much
Yes.
have you been playing is the real question.
So in all honesty, that's what I've been playing the most lately. So there was a good like maybe 4 or 5 months, probably longer than that, where I just wasn't really playing Genshin because at the time, this was prior to Inazuma, the Inazuma region coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, it was just kind of getting a little repetitive. It's like, okay, I've already caught up with the story. I've collected pretty much almost everything already. At that point, I was just doing dailies and just doing that grind. And so I put it down for a while, and I heard about Inazuma coming out, but like I was just busy with other things in life at the time. I just didn't really come back to it when the region dropped. So I came back some months later. And yeah, man, it's a lot of content. Like I came back to it I want to say October, somewhere around October. And I'm still not done exploring Inazuma. Like, granted, I haven't been playing like every day and stuff, but still, like, there's so many. Like, there's about like I think out of the 5 different islands, I've only fully explored like 2 of them. Or I think there's like 6 islands. I don't know. There's a lot of them. But yeah, like there's just so much content, and I'm just still going through it. And apparently, as of I want to say the last week or so, I think there's a new region that came out. It's called Inkenomaya or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a watery region. How do you pronounce this? Enkenomia. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
but
I know Aisha's been playing a lot of it lately as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a watery region that's like that you can access from Inazuma. So I started playing it a little bit last night once the new update just patched in. And I had to go uncover one of the islands I hadn't uncovered yet, just so I could like talk to that NPC to access the new area. So I have a lot of catching up to do, which I'm grateful for it because I really love Genshin. Like it's such gaming wise for me, it's such a breath of fresh air. It's like it's been such a long time prior to playing Genshin that I played a game where I could just really get lost in it, like literally get lost in it. And that's what Genshin really did right by the like Breath of the Wild formula, like actually giving the world some life to it, like there's so much to do, so much to find. There's puzzles everywhere, there's something in every corner, and that's what makes the game just so addicting, honestly. Also, I'm just watching the B-roll, and I'm watching because Chung Yoon is one of my favorites. Like, he's always in all of my teams. I'm just watching this B-roll footage of him kicking ass. It's great.
How much money have you put into the game so far?
Oh, don't ask me that.
How much money have you put into the game?
Okay, here's the thing. I'm a very frugal player, so I'm not a whale by any means. But I would say altogether, just from playing from release date to now, I want to say I've spent maybe close to 200 total, maybe even less, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, but I spend very sparingly. I'm not trying to Ash Ketchum all the characters because honestly, if I'm being honest, sometimes getting new characters is stressful because it's like, fuck, now I gotta build you.
Yeah, because
like, I gotta get all these
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not even so much that. It's like, oh damn, now I got a new character that I can't use because
all the resources you got to put in. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's like I force myself to not go past a certain adventure rank. So I'm like adventure rank 45, I think, or 50. Like I'm not going past that level because like the difficulty of the game right now is just where I need it. If it gets any higher, I'm not gonna have any fun. Like it's hard enough getting my characters to level 70 where they actually can kick ass and not sweat too much. But if I go any higher, like if I make the enemies level 80 or whatever, like I'm getting my ass kicked at every corner, and I don't want that.
I think it's just funny that I have like a lot of friends, like Aisha, her friend Kiera, a whole bunch of other people. They have been playing like a lot of Genshin like since launch, but it's like recently the game has gotten to the point where they have the budget, and like now they're like, we're making a lot of hot characters now. We're making a lot of hot characters. Like there's that Ito dude, the Oni looking guy. with the club, like they were trying to get him so bad. I think Aisha probably put like $75 into his banner to try to get him, and I don't know if she got him.
How much?
I think she put like $75 into the game recently. But she also doesn't put money into the game that often. So she was just like, this is the one I'm going to put money into. And I was like, okay.
See, here's my philosophy. So when I pull for characters, I don't do the individual ones. I do the 10 times one.
Oh yeah, they only go for 10 pulls, yeah.
Yeah, if I don't get them after the second 10 pull, oh well. Like, so fucking be it. Like, you already know my situation financially, so I really can't be afforded to be like doing that. But like, I mean, I do have like a gig that I'm doing. I'm doing like a paid thing for a friend. But like, you know, you don't
have money to be gambling for characters.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I feel like Genshin deserves the money. Like, it's one of those games where it's like, I don't feel bad spending money on the game per se. Like, it's not like oh, this game is trash, why am I spending money on it? Like, no,
it's not like a point and click mobile game. It's an actual like full on experience. The music is insane. Like, I also recently, me and Aisha watched the Genshin Impact like virtual concert they did. And it was like it's like an hour 15 minutes or something like that. And the music in that game is so good, dude. I'm like, bro, this game is free. This game is free.
Like, one of my favorite songs in the game is why is the name escaping me right now? Leeway's battle theme, like one of the battle themes. I forget what the name of it is, but it's one of my favorites. Also, Inazuma's theme when you're in the town area. Like, it's just, the music is so goddamn good. Yeah. But yeah, like, that's one of many reasons why I feel like when I do spend money on Genshin, like, it's well deserved. I'm like, you know what? So much love and care has been put into this game. Like, it deserves every dollar.
And it's only on its like second year of year and some change of existence already. It's not even on its second year yet fully.
Yeah.
So it's come a long way. Yeah.
There is only 2 complaints I have about the game. Not only 2, but like 2 main gripes. The one, I'm not gonna lie, I would like to see a little more melanin in the game, which I get it. It's a Chinese, like, you know, it's a Chinese.
You ain't gonna get no blacks in this game. Okay? We're gonna be playing as your. You are not gonna get any black characters. Okay, we got one like tanned character, and that's all you're getting.
Yeah, we got like at least 2, but like
2 tanned characters.
Region. There's that one region that we're supposed to get that's supposed to be more like Middle East kind of themed. I'm hoping we get a little more melanin in there. Just
more POC characters, yeah.
Yeah, but also the other thing too, I really want them to drop the dendro element. Because like the game hints at it, because there's 7 total, but we only have cryo, hydro, pyro, basically everything else, and it's like I want to see how that element is going to play into the meta of the game, because it's so long overdue. Like, we just need the dendro element.
Yeah, I don't know. So like with me and Genshin, right? Like, I played it a lot in that first like 2-3 months of it being out, but then I fell off. And like in terms of plot, I've only played through like the prologue and I think a little bit of like the first chapter. Because it takes so long to get through that that first prologue and then I have other stuff. But just like how people are just like grinding characters and all the amount of time that I'd have to literally log so much time into the game, and I'm like, I mean, you know, like I have too many games that end to play games, too many games that don't end. And I don't know. It's like at this point, I feel like I missed the train for Genshin at this point. Like, I like watching it from the sidelines, but I'm also like, I don't want to get to the point where like I feel like I want to put money into the game, because I don't really want to put money into Genshin. I think I'd rather put I'd rather not put $10 into Genshin, and I'd rather put $10 into Halo Infinite and get those cat ears. You feel me? So like I'd rather put my money elsewhere, because I know if you play Genshin, you got to put money into it at some point, just for like those characters that pop up and you're like, I'd like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Genshin, so that also kind of goes into one of my downsides of Genshin. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Like, the game has so much content, and it's always coming out with more content. But for somebody like yourself, for somebody who's just now like giving Genshin a chance, I can see how it can be a very overwhelming game because like, and this is another thing that kind of sucks about it. Let's say you pull a character from Inazuma and you're just starting the game. Unfortunately, the resources you need to level up that Inazuma character,
they're not even around the area that you're at.
Exactly.
Damn,
so
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so you would have to be in Inazuma to like basically level up that character.
Wow,
and it sucks because I'm like, yeah. So it's like I think it's kind of an oversight. They probably didn't really realize going like when they started, like when they created the game. But yeah, that can kind of suck if you just haven't really unlocked the area or if you haven't progressed through the story enough. So I mean, that's another thing that kind of sucks. But I kind of don't like how they handle events sometimes.
Oh yeah, the anniversary event was a big thing. A lot of people said they were going to stop after the anniversary event.
Yeah, it's like I kind of don't like how they pretty much prey on the whole FOMO thing, where it's like, yeah, we're only going to give you like 2 weeks for this event. I'm like, yo, like, bro, I'm an adult. Like, I can't be playing this like every day. I need more time than that.
You want this hot anime person, don't you, Nikkei?
Right, but the other thing too is like sometimes they have these limited edition mini games that personally should be permanent, and I don't know why they make them limited or like why they make them events. Like there was this one mini game where it was like you go inside this little pocket dimension and like you set up these little like turrets or whatever based on the different elements. But for lack of better words, we'll just call them like turrets.
Yeah.
And once you set them up, it's like you have like about a minute to like set them up where you want them and stuff. And like after that minute, it's like enemies start coming in waves, and like those turrets are supposed to take out the enemies for you. And like the more enemies you take out, the more you can upgrade the turrets. You can place more. You can add special effects. And I'm like, this is a really good like feature to have, just to kind of like. Maybe you want to grind some materials, or maybe you want to spend some of your daily resin to like get some stuff. Like, why have this be a temporary feature? Like, this is such a good feature to only have available for 2 weeks and never see it again. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Like, that's like one of my only gripes with Genshin. I feel like there are things that they could have just stay in the game because they're that good. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's too late to try Genshin though. Like I can see why it may be overwhelming.
Genshin is a great game to play if you have literally not that many other things going on, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know you're busy. I know you have like other games you're doing and other stuff you're doing. But at the same time, to be fair, it is a game that you can play at your own pace.
Yeah, and bursts and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, if I'd say don't be too afraid to get into it. Like I completely understand why it's overwhelming, but you will enjoy it. I think you will enjoy it.
Oh, the thing is, I already know I'm gonna enjoy it. The thing is, if I start too hard, I'm gonna just.
You think you'll enjoy it too much?
I'll just be in it for. Like this is a game where I'm like, I need a month to just play Genshin. Just give me a month of Genshin and then I'll be good. But I'm like, I don't have the time to put in that month right now, so I'm just like, I'll play later. So yeah, it's crazy, man. Good game though. Good. It's like a good franchise to be a part of, or like to like keep tabs on. And it's like you don't even have. I'm surprised they don't have more merch people can just buy though. I'm surprised they don't have like a merch store or anything like that. Because dude, they would make buku money. Buku money. Yeah. Like I have one friend. She's making like a whole bunch of Genshin character like peeker stickers for cars and like other stuff like that. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, and like actually, I wouldn't mind having like the little slimes like as plushies because I've seen that.
Dude,
before.
I'm surprised they don't have those. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would be perfect. They have like so many mascots they could use for that.
And then let's see. Last thing we're going to, I'm gonna touch on, is another PlayStation 5 game, because this is one of the games that I wanted to play. I already knew I wanted. When it first got revealed, and I just didn't have the console, but now I do. And luckily, when I got my console, this is one of the games that came in that bundle. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yes. Oh man, I love me some Ratchet.
This game is This game is stunning, to be honest. Like I said, I played Astro's Playroom. I was playing like Spider-Man PS4 remastered and like Miles Morales and stuff, but like no game really let me know I was in the next gen until I played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. because so before I played Rift Apart, it's been a while since I played like the last Ratchet and Clank game that came out like 2015, that came out with that movie. So I went back and played that, and I was like, okay, I kind of like remember what's going on with this. And then I started Rift Apart. It's night and day, bro. It is literally it's the budget increased, the capabilities of the consoles increased. It's insane how much detail is in this. Like, when people say I'm playing a movie, you're playing a movie when you're playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Like,
so the CGI is the same, like from
dude,
cutscenes to gameplay.
In Ratchet and Clank 2015, they had the engine for the cutscenes that were in the movie, and you're like, oh, this is obviously a better CGI engine. And then like the in-game cutscenes look a little like worse because they're in-game engine, but literally everything you see, every cutscene that you've seen in trailers, that's how the game looks point blank. Period. The game always looks that good. It looks that good always. Like, it's running 60 frames, ray tracing on my 4K TV. I'm like, bro, this is insane. How good this looks. Like, God, it was ridiculous. Because like the environments, there's like a whole bunch of background stuff going on in the environments. Like, if you're in like a city, there's the flying cars and ships going on. There's like a whole bunch of vendors where it's actually like people buying things and talking to each other. Like, everything's more in depth. There's more pieces to the environments and stuff like that. Like, characters that are in the stands at like stadiums and stuff, they're actually full on rendered characters in those stands. It's not just like a high quality like GIF moving around. It's actual characters and models and stuff.
Wow.
The particle effects and the amount of stuff that can be on the screen at once during these high action fights. Like, Ratchet and Clank is known for, like, you get a gun, you're in a fight with a whole bunch of enemies, you're outnumbered, and you're just you're blowing shit up. In this game, you're blowing shit up more than ever before. Like, you're taking on waves of enemies. These giant, like, they have the situation where like you're fighting a boss, then that boss comes back and it's a mini boss, and then later on that mini boss is now two of them, and they're just a regular character in the fight now, and you're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And it's so good. Like, I can't really. You have to play the game for yourself, or you have to like look up some gameplay. But honestly, playing the game for yourself just hits different. Also, like I said, with Astro, the adaptive triggers and the vibration actually like works very well with this game. So like I played Spider-Man, and they tried the adaptive trigger thing, and it's like when you're web swinging, there's like a little bit of tension when you're thwipping, and it doesn't really feel that good. So I turned it off for Spider-Man. And like Hot Wheels Unleashed, there's also like adaptive trigger vibration on that too. Like, revving the engine, I'm like, this is just gets annoying. I don't want to be doing it that much. But then Ratchet and Clank, they take advantage of the adaptive triggers because they have it where you can lightly press the trigger and it'll go like one setting on your gun, and then you fully pull it and it'll like click, and then it'll do another setting on the gun. So it's like cool. It's like you can lock on when you lightly pull it, and then you pull it all the way and it clicks, and then you're like firing the weapon, or like a secondary firing option and stuff like that. So they actually take advantage of the triggers really well with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Also, the set pieces of this game are insane because, like I said, it's like you're actually playing a movie. And one of the things that I like most about like Insomniac is they're not afraid to do like lots of really high spectacular things with their action sequences. Like, there's action sequences where like you're grinding on rails or you're running from an enemy, and they're taking up the whole screen, or like you're on rails and there's like stuff coming at you and you're shooting at something at the same time, and you're like running on walls and you're dodging, you're jumping through stuff. It is ridiculous, and it's just so fun to experience. And I just finished the main campaign like I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was listening to a lot of people who played it like initially when it first came out. They're like, yeah, we're going through when we're platinuming the game, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that when I finally get to it, but I'm probably going to end up platinuming this game too, like later on. Nice. I'm not going to do it right away, but it's just good enough where like all I need to do is just max out more weapons, go and grab some more collectibles, and it's just a fun time. And also, after you beat the game at New Game Pluses, so you keep the weapons that you got at the end of your first run, and you can use them on your second one. Yeah, so it's like, and the weapons are so good. Like, I had like different loadouts where there's like my DPS loadout where I have like the basic burst gun, a shotgun, like a cannon, and a rocket launcher. But then I have like the weapons that summon things to fight for you, like the zircons and like things that.
Oh, the zircons are back.
Yeah, like they have like little zircons. They have like these other things that like shoot at people. There's like this drone that you can call out that'll like shoot at people. And then I have like this gun that's basically a shield that can block damn near anything. And then you can shoot it back, and it like pushes and like does shotgun damage. It's crazy. Very.
Man.
The game is as fun as it looks in trailers, and you just got to get your hands on it. Like that's one of the essentials, I'd say, for PlayStation 5. Like.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you are gonna love it when you get your hands on it, man. It is such a good time.
That's one of those things where it's like, I don't know when I'll ever get the chance to afford a PlayStation 5, but Ratchet and Clank. If Ratchet and Clank was the only game they have for the console, I would still get a PS5 just for it.
Yeah,
I love Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank officially just showed me like, wow, this is what's possible in the next gen. This is insane. Like how much stuff can be going on, how big the worlds can be, how good like animated characters can look in like the gaming space. Like, I caught myself going like, damn, gaming has come a long way. Like when I was playing the game, I was like, this is what video games are now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and also last thing, the way that they advertise the Rift thing, where you go through a rift and the game is still going, there's no loading times. Bro, it's insane how like other than the game loading up initially or you loading into a new area, like a new planet to touch down on for that area, there's no loading screens. So like you're going through rifts, the game continues, you're going in and out of 2 different planes of existence, and the game's still going, no stuttering at all. Like it's very impressive to see that like live. It is so cool.
Incredible.
It's incredible. That's the power of the SSD, baby. That's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what big games come out this year for the PlayStation 5. Like Forspoken is another big one I'm looking forward to. And even like Horizon Forbidden West is going to be a really crazy thing to just see people play on the PlayStation 5. That's going to be wild. But yeah, only the year will tell. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we needed to touch on for this episode of the Binge Blast podcast. Lots of great stuff we talked about. Hope you guys had a good time listening out there in our live chat audience. Shout out to Turbo Samus, Jameer, Aisha, Sean, Sure You Can Pizza. Saw you in chat too, man. Thanks for coming through. And also all of you that are listening in post on Spotify or YouTube. Thanks for you guys listening in too. Last time, really quick, Logan, Nikkei, do you guys want to shameless plug yourselves really quick so people know where to find you?
Yeah. You can find me over on YouTube at Break Room Arcade. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, all the other things at Logan Daniel. And then, I should have plugged this because I'll probably use it. You can follow me on Twitch at LoggieDuvs.
Yeah, those Twitch streams.
Yeah, those are the places you can find me.
Awesome. And then Nikkei?
So you can find me as at NikkeiZX at anything. So you spell that NikkeiZX. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Even though I don't have any TikToks yet, they will be there. So yeah, definitely feel free to follow me on everything.
Cool. And you guys are listening to this podcast, like I said, on Comment RDW on Twitch. You can also find me at David RDW. That's DAVEED RDW on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram using that same handle. But I'm also on Comment RDW on Twitch and YouTube. And yeah, for sure, if you want to get more content like this, follow me on those social handles. We're going to have more people on the show this year. 2022, like I said, financials, physicals, and content to moles or whatever. We're gonna get this going, guys. So thanks for tuning in. It's gonna be the year. God damn it, we're gonna do it. Let's do it. So thank you so much for listening, y'all. I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye bye.